Hey, what's poppin' with you people? Basic Gamer here, bringing you the Week 3 recap of the National Pokemon Association. Although I am not alone in this series, one of my co-hosts you won't be meeting today, as he's feeling a little bit under the weather, and the other you'll be meeting, but only after my first analysis of the first 4 games, and he'll be picking it up for the final 8. But without further ado, let's get right into the teams. First up, we have Kyle A and his Miami Don fans versus King Bub and his Munchlaxter United. Kyle A brings the Scizor, the Jolteon, the Shuckle, the Crawdon, the Amoonguss, and the Cryogonal, while Bub brings Megalopunny, Greninja, Palossand, Sigilyph, Suicune, and Tangrowth. Now, honestly, this battle to me was the biggest, just give me that momentum back of all time. It started out really well in King Bub's favor. Suicune able to set up the Calm Mind and knock out a couple of threats, but this game really just shows you why Sticky Webs is nothing to trifle with. I have no idea where King Bub's defogger was. I'm not necessarily sure if Sigilyph even gets defog, but even if it did, it really got screwed over. If you guys haven't seen it, it did get frozen by the Cryogonal. This Cryogonal coming in strong. Choice Specs, I was not expecting this, but Choice Specs Cryogonal pretty much kills Bub's entire team with Sticky Webs up. And the Sticky Webs pretty much ensures nothing's going to switch in, because if you switch in to a Freeze Dry, then you're going to get 2-tapped. 100%. After the Choice Specs, you get 2-tapped. And this thing just destroyed everything. It destroyed the Suicune. It destroyed the Sigilyph. This thing destroyed the Lopunny. It just made sure that everything was low enough to not threaten anything later. And that is what won this man the game. Now, what I will say is this. There was a little bit of hacks in the sense that the Freeze Dry did freeze the Sigilyph, and the Sigilyph didn't really get a chance to respond, even though it did have the Focus Sash. But I'm not really sure if that would have made all of a difference, because if this thing does get defog, and feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, but if the thing does get defog, then cool, you defogged, but you still died. And if you went for something to kill it, well, cool, but webs are still up, so you're still kind of screwed by the Jolteon later. There was no real answer, and it was really unfortunate, but Kyle was able to pull this one out. Also, another thing that I would like to note is that the Tangrowth either didn't have an item, or King Bub brought 2 Z moves this week, which I think that is hot. We did see the Shattered Psyche on the Suicune, but Crawdon knocks off on the Tangrowth and nothing happens. So I'm assuming he brought 2 Z moves and was just going to go for whatever was a little more appropriate, but it did make sense because this thing was able to take a knockoff a little bit better than it would have had it had an item to knock off. So it worked out pretty well in King Bub's favor, although Kyle was able to swipe this one off of his opponent. Good stuff to you, Kyle. And now we're going to get into game 2, which takes place between the Choice Specs and his Orlando Magikarps, as well as Moonlight Swami and his Colorado Rapidash. Now, Specs brings Mega Gyarados, Entei, Ninetales, Venusaur, Jirachi, and Florges, while Swami brings Mega Aggron, Mimikyu, Latios, Infernape, Licky, and Rotom Fan. Now, I gotta say, this was my most entertaining battle to watch this week, but god damn it, Specs, what happened? What happened out there? You gotta do the research. You gotta, and I know that you said, I watched both sides. I know that you said this yourself, but you gotta make sure that what happened to you today, or rather this week, never happens to you again. Because, man, the fact that this Licky was able to pretty much come in and shut down your entire operation should tell you that A, you didn't do enough research, but then B, maybe your team was a little too gimmick centralized, and I'm gonna get into that. Licky with the Cloud9 was able to shut down your Sun, which Entei was relying on, Venusaur was relying on, Ninetales was relying on. That's 3 of your Mons that automatically just got shut down because you were relying on the Sun, so to speak. I'm not saying that they couldn't have done anything without the Sun, but this was a heavy Sun centralized team. Gimmick number 2 that I think had you not played around this as much as you did, you actually might have won this regardless of the Licky Licky. But gimmick number 2 is gonna go to the Eruption Entei. Oh my god. Like, in theory, this is heat. And that is not a pun, but this is heat. It really, really is. But the fact that you then wanted to play around having a full health Entei the entire game, you kind of just can't do that. In a way, none of your mons can be sacred, but at the same time, I guess some of them do have to, because, I mean, think about it. This was probably your win condition. Again, it was highly unfortunate. It was also unfortunate that you didn't see that the Infernape was a Scarf set, which, to me, it was a dead giveaway. Lead Nape usually is a Scarf set, like nowadays. I mean, it's usually between 1 or 2 things. But the second I saw him lead Nape and go straight for the U-turn, this man had no fear. Immediate going for the switch initiative with the U-turn, or rather the momentum with the U-turn. Personally, for me, that was a dead giveaway. This thing is Scarf. Another one of the things that I do want to mention is Rotom Fan is actually pretty damn good. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've never seen the move Electro Web. I have never seen that move. But the fact that it does get a speed drop, and I'm assuming is a stab electrical, that, yo, it's pretty damn hype. All in all, this was a really good game. It is, however, unfortunate that, like I said, the Licky Licky was able to shut things down, and you weren't able to keep your Entei at full health, but you can't play around that 100% of the time. This was a good game, but this one does go to Swami and his Rapidash. Game 3. We have between Cantlecast Blue and the Tapu Cocoa Puffs, and Iron Boffin and the Rochester RHYDONS. The Cocoa Puffs bring Mega Pidgeot, Tapu Bulu, Cresselia, Blissey, Vikavolt, and Darmanitan, while the RHYDONS bring the Mega Latios, the Tornadus, the Sylveon, the Blastoise, the Terrakion, and the MINNESOT. This game was so unfortunate. Like, the start of this game was just so unfortunate. The fact that you make a risky play with the Terrakion, you leave it in purposely on a Hurricane, you did your calcs, you know that you lived the Hurricane, you know that close combat, the +2 close combat is going to absolutely destroy this Mega Pidgeot. But then not only do you get confused, which is a roll, but then you also hit yourself in confusion, which is another roll. That I saw that, and my heart wept for you. It wept, whichever one. I cried for you. All right, I did. From there, Blissey was able to just kind of sit on everything, and although, yeah, Blissey was taken care of a little earlier than it should have due to a, I guess, unfortunate crit coming from a Psyshock, I mean, the Blissey was able to just kind of sit there in the wall. It really does suck. You do want to maybe make sure to just kind of plan for that ahead, because honestly, had that crit not come through, then Blissey would have just sat there. Although Psyshock, since it does attack on a defensive side, it definitely would have, you know, you had some stuff there, but still, man. Going a little bit forward, the Bulu lives a Sub-Zero Slammer Z move from this Blastoise. I can only assume, although I really don't have the sets, but I can only assume that the Bulu had to be Assault Vested. There's just no way. There's just no way. Anyway, that aside, this match kind of just goes to show you, if you guys are taking a look at Darmanitan, picking up 4 kills, this match does just kind of tell you everything on the Rhydon side got just low enough that a Scarf Bulu was able to come in and just absolutely destroy everything. You just kind of know, you're keeping track of everything's health, you're keeping track of everything's health, and after a while it's like, oh, well, yeah, Bulu can come in and just sweep the fuck up. That is what Darmanitan did. Highly unfortunate, but this thing did put in work. Definitely the Cocoa Puffs MVP this week. So good stuff over to Cantlecast Blue. And without further ado, we're going to get into my last game before switching over to my host, Dark Devil, which takes place between the Lindomar and the Straw Hat Swampert, and Poke and the Lancaster Castforms. Swamperts bring Mega Blastoise, Deontay, Malamar, Machamp, Mew, and Gliscor, while the Lancaster cast forms bring Mega Aerodactyl, Azelf, Quagsire, Arcanine, Vileplume, and Weavile. This game, there wasn't much to say about this game. Honestly, like, it took me a couple of times to watch this game to see what really went wrong here. And honestly, there wasn't a lot that did go wrong. Lindomar is just such a calculated battler. I've battled him in the past. He's such a calculated battler. He knows exactly what his win condition is. He knows exactly how to make his win condition a win condition, and when I say that, I pretty much mean what needs to get weakened in order for this mon to absolutely destroy House. What do I need to get out of my way? And he knew that getting chip, getting damage on the Quagsire would allow for the Malamar to just come out and do whatever it wants to, and I mean it did. Let's talk about the Malamar for a second. The fact the Malamar was a Rest Talk set allowed for Lindo to pretty much play a little more risky with his switch-ins. He didn't mind switching into a Vileplume, which may or may not have put him to sleep because Sleep Talk. He didn't mind the Quagsire fishing for a burn because Sleep Talk. He didn't mind possibly being toxic because Sleep Talk. He can rest off absolutely any of these status moves and still be okay. He also calculated that he would live a U-turn from the Azelf because the Azelf, I'm sure, didn't have a ton of attack investments, if any at all. And I mean, hey, Malamar was also at +2 defense. Malamar is definitely the MVP of this week, if you ask me. Even though it didn't pick up a lot of kills, it did make sure to whittle a lot of things down for later mons to just kind of come in and sweep. The Gliscor kind of sat, got off a few Toxics as well. Besides that, there wasn't a lot to speak about in this game. Lindo just playing super lights out, and that's what we love to see here at the NPA. But guys, that's going to end it here for my portion of this analysis. We are going to swap it over to my boy DarkDevil26, and he's going to take it from here. Guys, I will see you guys next week, and over to you, Dark Devil.
Thank you, Basic, and now I will take over the recaps from here. I will be doing the remaining 8 games due to the fact our third member, Melon, is sick and unable to make it. I do wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope he will be able to record with us for week number 4. But, on the contrary, you guys get to spend more time with me. Yay! So, we're going to go over the remaining 8 games, starting with Crest, coach of the Adelaide Honchcrows versus Goffy's, coach of the Southampton Sharpedos. So, this game was a really fun game to watch in a sense that Crest started the game out really badly, but ended up clawing her way back into the game slowly but surely. So, the game started out with Crest being down 5-2, and the play that really symbolizes how Crest played in the beginning of the game was the fact that she went for the Waterium ZZ move on the Scizor in the Sun. That was not the best play, and unfortunately Crest did goof a little bit, but that's okay, we all do once in a while. So unfortunately, Crest did hiccup a little bit, but that ended up not hurting her in the long run, as she was able to bring the game back with her Keldeo and her Charizard Y, as Keldeo picked up 3 kills and Charizard picked up 2. So that was an excellent comeback by Crest, and unfortunately Goffy's had the game, but he just couldn't put it away. Now I will say this, I really liked Goffy's Rain Dance Floatzel set. I felt like that was a really cool set to counter the Charizard Y, but unfortunately it just couldn't live up to its hype, and unfortunately Goffy's is going to fall by the final of 2-0 to Crest. So our next game here is going to be Tup and the Pittsburgh Piratas taking on Galactic Elliot, coach of the Chicago CUBCHOOS. So this game, like last game, consists of a fantastic comeback. So we're going to begin this game by talking about Tup's Lurantis set. Tup's Lurantis set was awesome. Had Superpower Synthesis and Leaf Blade, and it literally just ran through Elliot's team to begin the game, but unfortunately for Tup, Elliot did prep for that somewhat, and he brought the Haze Milotic, which was amazing prep on Elliot's part, and from there it really just went downhill for Tup, as Tup was down 5-2, much like Goffy's was, and Elliot managed to bring the game back with the combination of unlucky rolls and a very cool Donphan set, the Rock Polished Donphan set. So now, unfortunately for Tup, he got 2 subpar rolls with extreme speed on the Zygarde and the Tapu Koko, which is really unfortunate for Tup, as he does fall to 0-3 and Elliot goes to 2-1. The Pittsburgh Piratas are still off to a really subpar start, but hopefully Tup and his crew can turn it around around fairly easily. So very good comeback on Elliot's part, as he was able to bring the game back with the Don Fanniney took advantage of the fact that the rolls were in his favor and was able to capitalize it and bring the game back. Next up, we have Redithan, coach of the Nashville Predators, versus 6foot Hacks, coach of the Durham DRUDDIGONS. So this game I think was very, very fun and entertaining to watch, as this game was very well played on both sides. I do feel like Ethan had the prediction game really on point in the beginning of the game. He made a lot of really good plays, especially with his Superior and his Blacephalon, but unfortunately, like most games this week, I don't know what it is with the comebacks this week, but Leo was able to bring it back with his Mamoswine, picking up 3 kills at the end of the game on the Hydreigon, the Blacephalon, and the Tyranitar to pick up the narrow 1-0 victory. So, unfortunately for Ethan though, the game did not end as he had wanted it to. It was Mamoswine against the Mega T-Tar, and unfortunately Mamoswine crit the Earthquake on the Mega T-Tar, and that didn't go well, and as a result, Ethan lost the game, because if I remember correctly, Ethan was EV'd to live an Earthquake from Mamoswine, but unfortunately Mamoswine did crit and ultimately lost Ethan the game. But Leo now goes to 2-1 and Ethan falls to 2-1, so they are now at identical records. All around, this was a well-played game on both sides. Next up, we have the New York KLINKS, coached by Papa C, against the Tampa Bay Luxrays, coached by Exception. So this was a cute little weather war where Papa C brought a Sunny Day Trevenant, which was pretty cool, against the Tampa Bay Luxrays rain team. That was, I think, a pretty cool bring on Papa C's part, and that Trevenant ended up really putting a dent in the Tampa Bay Luxrays' plans to sweep with the rain. Mega Absol also put in work this game, picking up a solid 3 kills on the Snorlax, the Thundurus, and the Bronzong to wrap up the game. And I feel like this game, the Tampa Bay Luxrays did not play too well around the Fortress, as Fortress was able to get up rocks and 2 layers of spikes, and unfortunately at the end the Heracross did miss 2 Stone Edges to kill the Fortress. That may or may not have mattered in the long run, because the Stone Edges still needed to kill 2 more Mons after that in order to safely secure the victory for the Luxrays. However, the KLINKS do pull out a 3-0 victory, and I feel like this game was pretty well played on Papa C's part, especially towards the end, as he was able to once again claw his way back from a 6-4 deficit, and he was able to come back and win one for the KLINKS. So that's it from my notes. So as we're going on to Melon's portion, I'm now going to be talking about the games that Melon sent me. So first up, we have the Detroit Titan Nulls, coached by Crimson Seabed, against Pokemon and the New Orleans Pelippers. Now, Melon felt that Crimson Seabed played with Zebstrika very risky, but it ended up working out in the beginning. There was some unfortunate hacks with the Scrafty as well, with the Boom Burst, but Melon feels like the Boom Burst would have killed anyway. Now, there was also a Altaria problem that Melon saw with the speed creeping, and unfortunately Melon felt that Crimson Seabed did not do well with his Altaria spread, and as a result it really hurt him in the long run. And John didn't really have much for a faster Mega Ult, but he did bring a slower Mega Ult, and as a result it really hurt Crimson Seabed in the long run. And he does say, however, the Celesteela set that Crimson brought was very, very nice if it weren't for the Salazzle. So if Salazzle did not come, the Celesteela definitely would have come in clutch, and fortunately for the New Orleans Pelippers, they did manage to win 4-0. Next up, we have the Montreal Toucanadians versus the Seattle Sea Kings. So Melon felt that the Dugtrio play with the Stealth Rock was a very good opening on the part of the Toucanadians, and staying in with Gardevoir on Kartana was a play that Melon talked about a lot, as Melon felt that the Toucanadians didn't make the right play, but he didn't really have an answer to Kartana to begin with, Melon says, so it was understandable. Also, as a side thing, Melon says he's never seen a Freeze Shock, a Z-Freeze Shock Sub-Zero Slammer do that little damage, as the Montreal Toucanadians are going to pull out the 2-0 victory. So next up, we have Dan the Man, aka A-Drive, taking on the South Texas Sableyes. So in this game, the early game HP Grass play was really nice by the Sableyes, though Stone Edge might have been better, as HP Grass could have killed the Seismitoad and stopped the rocks from going up. So Stealth Rocks definitely played a very big part in this game, and Melon Melon felt like HP Grass was the better play just so the Stealth Rocks can't get up, because we all know Stealth Rocks are really, really annoying. So then Melon says that A-Drive should have gone for Brick Break, as he could see why he wanted to save Victini. Now, unfortunately, the 30% burn chance was absolutely huge this game, as we honestly have come to accept these burn chances as part of the game. Really unfortunate though for A-Drive, as his Mawile did get burned. Dan also made a very slight misplay in Melon's opinion, that he could have gotten damage off on the Alolan Dugtrio with Salamence, but it ended up working out actually, as the Dugtrio had a 30% chance to flinch and it didn't, and Sableye got another trick up with the Rockidium Z, but Weezing lived with 1 HP. 1 HP! So that's pretty exciting that Dan was able to win with a 1 HP Weezing, and A-Drive wins 1-0 as a result. So that's a pretty crazy ending on the part of A-Drive. So A-Drive is going to win 1-0, and he's going to improve to 3-0 on the season. And then finally, we have the Setar Rapids Thunders versus the Maryland Torterrapins. And this game here, Melon didn't really have that much to say about this game. Special Zard was really the best bring when a Dragon Dance Zard was a bigger threat, since he had the dual screens on Gardevoir. So yeah, Melon didn't really have much to say about this game, but the winner turned out to be Kelly with a 1-0 victory. Now, I will apologize as Melon isn't here, and I frankly did not have the time to watch the remaining 4 games. I am just basically going off from what Melon sent me, but yeah, I really hope you enjoyed my analysis on my 4 games somewhat. I was only reading off Melon's notes for his 4. I really did not have the time to watch his 4, which is really unfortunate, and I hope you enjoyed Basics 4. But if you guys enjoyed our analyses and want more Draft League content, please do check out our channels in the description down below. It's been a pleasure, and I will be seeing you next week along with my gang, hopefully the full cast of my recappers, and I will bid you all adieu, and I'll see you all next week, so peace out.